All right, guys. So we beat Auburn 28-14, and kind of one of the games, man, where we made typical mistakes, four turnovers, a couple of we just typical mistakes over and over and over again in situations. But we were moving the ball up and down the field consistently. Um, Auburn's not built like Oklahoma. Oklahoma's front seven is what I keep trying to tell people, man. Oklahoma's front seven is way better than Auburn. Auburn has the talent, but Oklahoma, man, they have a way better front seven than Auburn. Auburn's team was not really built to stop the run. Their defense isn't really bad. Their offense, of course, they got the receivers. They got the receivers. They got the playmakers on the outside. They had the running game to definitely beat this defense. And in certain occasions, it felt like they were going to do it, man. But Peyton Thorne is fucking garbage. Peyton Thorne is absolutely terrible. And honestly, Auburn is missing a few things. They're not that far behind, man. They have a very young roster. Auburn produces a lot of talent every single year, obviously because they're in the state of Alabama, one of the best states in terms of getting 4 and 5 star players. Auburn can recruit the South. They love to attack Georgia, and they recruit very successfully in that state as well. We also got to factor in NIL, transfer portal. That also has to be a factor. Auburn's going to be a very hot destination for some big time players that's going to be looking for playing time. Auburn, maybe in a year or two, if they can keep this young core together, Auburn's going to be a very dangerous football team, man. So listen, it is what it is. We beat the shit out of Auburn 28-14, and yes, we honestly gave them points because of turnovers. Had some fumbles, had a strip sack that happened. But ultimately, Alabama was the better team. We knew this going in that we were vastly superior to them. They weren't really, the only thing I really fear for Auburn was their offense because they could run the football. And in parts, they actually did a good job. Peyton Thorne can make plays happen with his legs. Jaquez Hunter is a very good running back for them. And like I said, they got the playmakers like Smith and Coleman and the rest of those guys. They got playmakers. But ultimately, I will say this. It is very good. It is extremely satisfying to beat Auburn. It is very satisfying to beat that team, especially the amount of shit that those players have talked from Perry, from Riddick, and a lot of them talked shit on social media. Everybody got on their high horses. Auburn fans, of course, fell right into the hype. And so it was very satisfying shutting them up for 365 days a year, even though they'll continue to bitch and moan about Alabama not making the playoffs. And so you can't beat Auburn, right? Even if you beat them on the field, you can't beat them off the field because Auburn's used to losing. This is what they do. They're used to losing. And so, they had nothing to play for, right? They're not playing in Jordan-Hare, right? They're on the road in Tuscaloosa. They know they can't beat us in Tuscaloosa. The last time they actually won in Tuscaloosa was what, in 2010? I want to say since the comeback in 2010. That was 14 years ago. That's the last time they beat us in T-Town. So yeah, they had nothing to lose, and so it's like, why not talk shit? They lose, whatever. Auburn fans know they're not a really good football team this year, even though they've been pretty competitive in a lot of their games. They're not a great team, so we'll see what happens with them, but. In terms of what about us, again, I can talk about the mistakes. I can talk about some of the issues we had defensively and offensively. I'm not going to do it. It's the end of the season. We're 9-3. It is a winning record. I know a lot of Bama fans are not going to be satisfied with that, myself included. My expectation was 10-2 this year. My expectation was to at least make the playoffs. I did not expect us to lose to Vanderbilt. I didn't expect us to get throttled by Oklahoma, by a depleted Oklahoma team. I expected us to lose to Oklahoma in the preseason. I never expected us to get throttled by an Oklahoma team losing that many amount of players. No passing game, no receivers, defense. Those players are just starting to come back, and we still found a way to get throttled. I never expected that. But for the most part, a lot of people had us going 9-3, 10-2 anyway, so it is what it is. In terms of can we make the playoffs, maybe. It may be. We are ranked 13th. If we were ranked 16th or 17th, it might have been a different story, but we are literally one rank away from getting in there. So Miami lost today. Somebody else lost. I forgot. Somebody else lost today as well. I know Ohio State, they lost, but Ohio State's going to be in the playoffs. If Indiana loses to Purdue, then you got to kick out Indiana out the playoff conversation. We got the Texas A&M football game. We have to, what happens if A&M beats Texas? Do you kick? I mean, yes, Texas is ranked third, but Texas hasn't played anybody, right? They played one top ranked school and they lost. They didn't play South Carolina. They didn't. Right? They didn't play South Carolina. They didn't play Ole Miss. They didn't play Alabama. Well, they played them last year, but they didn't play them this year. They didn't play. Who else they didn't? They didn't play Tennessee. The only tough ranked team that they played against is Georgia, and then right now they're playing A&M. And if they lose to A&M, they should be penalized. I'm sorry, they should definitely be penalized. Maybe they still make the playoffs, but where do you put them at? How do you know that's a top 12 school if they haven't really beaten any top ranked opponents? So there's going to be a long, lengthy conversation if chaos does continue to ensue, but who knows? I mean, what do you do? I mean, Miami lost. They're not playing for an AC championship game. Clemson, Clemson, who was number 12, they lost to South Carolina. That's what I was talking about. They lost to South Carolina. Do you jump South Carolina ahead of Alabama? Alabama beat them head to head, but South Carolina's got the better schedule. They've beaten better opponents than we have. So I don't know. We'll see what happens, man, what the playoff committee does. We all know the committee, they don't even follow their own fucking rules and regulations. So this is going to be extremely unpredictable. Don't read into the rule sets that they put. If you're trying to look at the criteria, they don't even follow the criteria on a yearly basis. So I have no idea what's going to happen. We'll see what happens after the conference championship games are over, which we also have to factor in as well. What do you do with the conference championship losers? What do you do with the losers, especially if they get destroyed? What do you do with them? So we'll see. But anyway, guys, we got the win. If this is truly the end for us, and we get to play in the Cheez-Its Bowl or in the Frosted Flakes Bowl, it was. I will say this: at least we're not 9-3. It could be worse. It could have been much worse, I guess. And so we're just gonna have to reload, get ready for signing day. We got to put a heavy emphasis on the transfer portal. I'm not really, we got to put a heavy emphasis this year on the transfer portal, get some key players. Some guys obviously is going to leave, but, we'll see what happens, man. So 9-3 is what it is. At least we got the win against Auburn, and those fans can shut their fucking trap holes for a year at least. Maybe, I don't know. We'll see. But anyway, I'll catch you guys later.